Good morning.
Hi, Robin. I'm Stavetta. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Savannah.
I gotta go get my headphones. I'll be right back.
Testing one, two, three. Hey, everybody, I want to welcome you here to Thursday Workshop. This is the last Thursday of the month. So I encourage you to preview as part of our masterminding time here this morning. And and I'll walk you through that here in just a moment. Also, for those of you who are joining us on the live feed, the live page, you'll notice that I've actually updated the live page a bit. And so let me know what's going to happen moving forward on that live page is that you're actually going to be able to get the live feed. And I know a couple of people were telling me that it was showing Super Saturday. I'm experimenting with how to actually do that in a way that ends up having the right information on it. And so just hang in there and I should have the kinks worked out of this. And then if anybody wants this on their own site, for example, if you're not using Go High Level or you're not using StanStore and you want to experiment with using a a different tool, then please let me know. I'll be happy to share that with you. All right, so let me look here and put in, hold on a second. I'm going to update this just so people are able to see it. Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm doing it. Someone asked me um, about how they could do this with um, with an app like Base 44 or it's a little bit of an advanced question. I'm going to answer it in the simplest way uh, that I can, and that is you can do any of this with AI. And one thing, in fact, let me just show you something. Let me just show you something from that I recently did, just to give you an example. So I'm part of a Bible study that happens on. Tuesdays, and we're studying like the end times stuff. And so I used a tool. Hold on, let me show you. I used a tool that I used a tool to make, and this is Claude Code, by the way. What I'm showing you here, it's something called Claude Code that made this. But I made a little app that basically allows you to like fill in a word and then it builds a secret message. And this one happens to be based on the book of Revelation, which is what we're studying in that Bible study group. And I was playing around with a way to make like a game or a puzzle. And that's what this is. It's basically a series of puzzles that reveal secret messages from the Bible. And so I'm showing you this because I want you to see that with AI and learning how to build apps, which is something we're going to do together in September. In fact, I'm thinking that one of the Super Saturdays is going to be completely dedicated to you building an app. Okay. And we're gonna build some different kind of apps. So let me give you an idea. Like, okay, so you see this Revelation Secrets one, okay? And if you want to see how that works, I'm going to put it in the chat here for those of you that are joining live. I've got a couple of people that I invited in to join live because I want to talk to them about some stuff they're doing, and I want to show you some stuff that they were able to do. So I'm going to put it in the meeting chat for those that are live, and then the actual URL is app.figureoutables.com. Figureoutables is spelled Figgeroutables. Okay, and you can check that out. So that's like a puzzle example. Um, there's another one. Um, there's another one here that Robin did her caregiving workshop, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But let me try to figure out where that app is that she did. Um, we actually did that app with Claude, which was really different, and that's why I want to show it to you. And you may be thinking, well, Ramon, I'm just trying to get this other thing, this first thing done. Why are you talking to me about apps? Because apps are a really, really, really simple way to add measurable benefit and value to what it is you're offering people. And so let's say, for example, that you do a workshop or you do a product, okay? And that product is something that you've recorded on a video. Hold on. That product is something that you've done on a video. Oops. Have I totally forgotten let's see. And then I'm pretty sure. Maybe. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna get it right. I just need to go get
You want me to put it in
get
the
the right
chat?
password here. Oh, I got it. I was typing in the wrong password. Okay, let's try it again. Will it let me go back in there? All right. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I came up with a bootleg way to make an app in Claude that anybody can do. So this was her member page for the workshop that happened yesterday. She ended up with five people signing up, five paid people signing up for the workshop, and all of her like downloads and extras and all of that kind of thing was here on this page. Now, again, I did this in a little bit of a different way with her because I want to show people examples of how you could actually do this with AI like Claude, even if you don't have Stan Store or go high level, you can still do it. Okay. And and I want to be completely transparent with you about this. Using Stan Store is 1,000% easier. And then I would say from there, this method, or no, the Go High Level tool that you guys have access to is probably next. And then this is probably next in terms of complexity. But I know there are people here that are at all different levels in our community. And so I wanted to show those people who are just geeking out on vibe coding right now and wanting to use something like Claude or wanting to use Claude Code. I'm going to be demonstrating some different methods that I'm using to with these different tools that you can use that are not nearly as complicated as people think. Um, and once you see it, you may say, "Oh, okay, I can do this with that, or I can do the other thing." So let me get just real quick. Let me show you this thing that is down here called the app. Okay, so this is a really bootleg app. And what I mean by that is the way that this is built is it's built in Claude. Okay, so let's say, for example, that you want to do something where there people are filling out a a series of questions and it's generating something. That's what this is. So in her workshop, she has this planning guide for caregiving, and you gather all of this information. So you have the conversation with your parents, and you gather all this information, and you type all of this in. Okay. Then it goes to the next set of questions, so on and so forth. The thing I really want to show you is this Ask Robin. Okay, so you see this little button down here on the right-hand side. You can click that and it pops up Ask Robin, your anytime guide. Now, again, this is a totally bootleg chatbot built in. When I say bootleg, I don't mean like bad. I mean it's so dumb simple that you don't even have to know anything about AI or prompting or anything. You can have it built. So let's say, for example, you want to gather some information or you want people to go through a particular exercise where they need to type something in. They get a score, they get a printout, they get whatever you want them to get. This is basically a generator page built in Claude. And somebody can go there and it'll pretty much do whatever you want it to do. But then you can add this ask you thingy. And so I'm going to click this and it says, how do I start the first conversation? Okay. And it says, Robin is thinking. Okay. And basically, what this will do is this is going to answer the question. It says the secret is to keep it small and low stakes. This is just an opener, not a big talk. This is basically what Robin would say, and pretty much what she said in the workshop last night. Well, how does Claude even know this? It knows it because remember, we're using Claude to generate the slides. We're using Claude to generate the teaching guide. And as a result of that, Claude is learning what needs to be taught in the workshop. It's learning that, but then it's drawing on that in this little app. And so here's what happens. People are in workshops and they're getting the information. They're listening, but they're not really listening because they're either thinking ahead of what they want to do, or they're trying to remember what you said 5 minutes ago, and they're taking notes and blah 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 blah. So what happens is they walk away from the workshop and they say, "Ooh, that was a great workshop," but very few people implement. And the reason they don't implement is because first of all, they don't go back and watch the replay. Second, their notes are all over the place because they were kind of thinking of something while listening at the same time and then trying to write notes. So, what this ask thing allows you to do is basically be like a coach to them through this bot, pretty much on the topic that you just taught. And this is something I've never seen this implemented before. And like I said, I stumbled into it because we wrote on the sales letter an app, and then I realized I said, okay, how can I create a really, really simple app that doesn't require a lot of like AI and prompting and training and all of that kind of thing. And this is one of the things that we're going to do together in a Super Saturday in August. We're actually going to build a couple of apps, at least one for whatever it is you are doing. Okay. And like I said, this is the app for a workshop. So when you do a workshop, you just create, and in Claude, it's called an artifact. And I'm going to show you how to build it. And you're right in the Claude conversation where you just built out your teaching slides, then you have your teaching guide, then you have your handout notes on the back end. Um, and I'm going to show you guys this again. I've kind of already shown you this, but I'm going to show it to you again because I want to keep convincing you of how simple this thing actually is because nobody thinks this is simple. Okay, because everybody's out there teaching AI and charging you, $1,000 to get in the thing, and then everybody's like, "Oh, this is so hard," and da 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 da. Da. Okay, so if you look at this, this is what I'm showing you in Claude. In Claude, you generate this. You generate the slides, which is what you're seeing today. You generate the teaching guide, which is the thing that guides you on what to say, okay, during the workshop. And then you're generating the an outline, which is just the raw outline that we generate first before we do anything else. And then you're generating the backtrack notes, which is what you give people, after everything is open. The added thing that I'm doing now is the actual app. So you're going to create an app for each workshop. Now, for mine, my reoccurring workshops on Thursday, I'm going to do a big app inside of a full-blown sort of virtual me so that it will answer anything about anything related to freedom creators. And I'm working on that. And I've given a couple of people early access to it just to get some feedback. And I'm going to roll this out to everyone over the next few days so that you can use that. Because see, here's what the whole coaching game is changing dramatically. And what I mean by that is that we're getting into a situation now where people are willing to pay $25 a week. They're willing to pay $50 a month. They're willing to pay $100 a month. In some cases, $200 a month to get access to a virtual you that has all of your courses built into it. Okay. It has all of your courses built into it, like a GPT. So, for example, for those of you don't maybe these terms are new for you. A GPT is like what you're looking at right now is an app in Claude that you can make by talking to Claude. Inside of ChatGPT, you can make a what's called a GPT or an app inside of ChatGPT by talking to ChatGPT and asking it to create a GPT, which is what they call their app. Okay. And again, all of this may be confusing if you're brand new to this. Relax. I'm going to walk you through creating apps inside of ChatGPT and inside of Claude. Now, the problem with apps that you make inside of Claude and ChatGPT is that they're free and they're not gated. So this app of Robin's, anybody can go in here that has the URL and like use it. Okay. But if they don't have the URL, obviously they can't use it. So she gave the URL to the people who came to her workshop. And so, but what if you could take and make an app like this, a micro app like this, and then put it into a gated page where when people stop paying, they stop getting access. That's what I'm going to show you. That's the leading edge of where coaching is going. So you can put all of your knowledge into a micro app and people can get the content and then they can ask it questions, okay, and get support. Okay? That's like the next level of where all of this is going. And so that was something that was in. Now, I want to go a little bit of I want to go um, a little bit further with what Robin was able to do, and that started at I think we started that on Super Saturday, our previous Super Saturday, and then she started figuring out how to send emails to people using the GPT we made for um, for that, and then. Um, And then we had a sales page that we made in the Super Saturday as well. And so she ended up with 5 buyers. Now, what I suggest, okay, what I'm going to suggest to her is that we send out an email today and we ask people if they want her personal help because she did the webinar last night and those 5 people are, they're excited, they're happy, they got access to the stuff that was promised. And so then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, do you want Robin's personal help to implement the caregiving guide and all of these other things over the next 30 days. And so it'll be something like, well, okay, pay $99 and you can email me anytime you want, and I'll get back to you with a voice message about, your question. Okay. So you could deliver that service, by the way, in a bunch of different ways if you want to coach people. You can deliver it through email. They just send you email. And then you can use, there's a whole bunch of tools that allow you to voice dictate or to send like an audio. The one that I use is, it's this voice messaging tool. Let me pull it up and I'll tell you exactly what it's called. And I was able to get it like pay one price and have it forever. And I'm going to show you this only because a lot of people that I talk, it's called Vocal, Vocal. So if you go to jo.my/vocal, you should see a deal there. Let me make sure that deal is still active because that thing has been fantastic for me. And if you sometimes, feel like you speak better than you write, yes, it's a one-time deal. So for $59, you're saving like 600 bucks and you have it forever. And what it does is it allows you to send an audio through Gmail, okay, with you talking, and it's also transcribed. That is the way that I handle all of the coaching offers where I say, hey, you can get me as your coach in your email for $99 for the whole month. And so people just pay me $99. They send me a question in email. I click the vocal button inside of my Gmail and I respond to them with my voice. Okay. People love it because they feel like they're getting a more in-depth perspective. They're actually getting me, but I could record those um, voicemails all together at like 10 o'clock at night if I wanted to, or 7 o'clock in the morning if I wanted to. And I just do them all together. And that allows me to really serve people well. And I don't have to type out 10 messages. Okay. So that's
Ramon,
a,
could you say it again? Where you get it from? J-O something you said?
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna put it in here.
Okay.
So here is the URL for Vocal. And like I said, this right here is a must for me. And the fact that you can get it, pay one time and have it forever, that's just a game changer. Now again, the specific application of this is if somebody wants you to coach them, you tell them, listen, I have an email coaching program. It's $99 a month. You send you send me your question by email, and I will respond with a a voice a voice message, just like I was talking to you, and that will also be transcribed so you can read it if you prefer. That is just a game changer. That thing took a whole lot of stress off of me for uh for doing that. Okay. All right. So let's get into our training for the okay. So I want to say um congratulations to Robin. Robin, um I wanted to kind of like ask you, I'm glad you were able to come on because I wanted to kind of ask you, what did you learn? Like what what did you do right? Um, what did you learn and what will you do different in your next workshop? Because this workshop happened within a 3 week period of time, 2, 3 weeks. You got, first time out doing a paid workshop like this, you got a pretty good result. Um, and like, what do you feel like what did you do right? What did you learn? What will you do different? Because now it's time to do your next workshop. So you do
Well,
another workshop, you do another workshop in August
uh-huh.
on a different topic, and now you got a product that you can sell, it'll sell forever
Right.
on the
I
topic of caregiving.
I definitely gonna do another different topic, but I also would like to do the caregiving one again, just from a different perspective. I think what I did well was I had my notes, I had the slides. I didn't do as well with going with the slides. Like sometimes I went ahead of the slides, just being excited. So I might need to work a little bit better on that. I thought my energy was good. When I had the little hiccup with the internet, I thought I handled that well. um, the activities, I think we need to do a little, I need to get a little bit more detailed with the first activity. But I was excited that two people did do the activity and they gave me dates, so I got to follow up on them. But I think the actual activity and maybe having someone help me go through some of the activities will work. And then I think I just got to get a better way of the Zoom and the slides. I was a little confused with the Zoom and the slides. My machine was acting up, but that might have been more towards the internet. But I think the activities went well. I might tell a little bit more of my story. But I thought the interaction, so there's a few things I need to tweak. Um, but I think overall I did well, and I'm excited about it. And I know there's a need out there for it because all of them were like, a couple of them, well, not all of them, a couple of people were like, oh, I think I'm behind. I was like, no, you're not behind. Your parents say they have the stuff. Now you just need to talk to them about it, where it is, make sure they have it and that type of thing. But I think overall, yeah, I made some mistakes. I can always do better. Um, but I'm excited, and I think it's definitely a need. We just might need to try a different angle. Um, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else. I know I definitely need to work better with going with the slides because I probably went ahead of the slides a couple of times. And I got to make sure my supplies are ready. I kept on losing my pens and stuff that I had next to me. So there's little different things like that. And I think the interaction was well with the people. So maybe try to get I really think that first activity, because I had two activities. I think the first activity I need to maybe tweak it a little bit to get me people more involved and actually get them doing it. But we did get two people to do it then. And then the checklist activity, I like that one. So
All right, awesome. Yeah, great job. Great job. And so whenever you do something, it's really important to really look at it in an objective way and say, okay, um, what did I do right? What did I learn? And what will I do different? And that is key, not just for not just for when you do like a workshop, but it's also good. This is part of the review preview process that we do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and annually. So, what I want to encourage you to do is to do this for August, to ask and answer those three questions, and then to identify some specific goals moving forward. Okay, so we're going to do this. Let me see. I'm going to jump in here and do a new tab and um, okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to just open up a whiteboard here. Um, and then we're going to do like our review preview. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the review and we're going to review July. And I encourage you to like do this, to actually do this exercise that we're going to do together. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask those three questions. And question number one is, what did I do right? Okay. So I want you to ask and answer that question. And I encourage you, as part of just your journaling process, just have one place, even a Google Doc, where in that Google Doc, every time you you ask and answer the questions for review preview. You keep, notes on your progress, what you're learning, that kind of thing. All right. So what did I do right in July? And what I encourage you to do is to go ahead and go back and look at your calendar for July. So excuse me, if you use Google Calendar, open your Google Calendar up and look at July in your Google Calendar. Okay. And go back and use looking at the things that you had scheduled in July to trigger your memory. And I just want you to write down the answer to the question, what did I do right in July? Okay. The next question you're going to ask and journal is, what did I, I learn? What did I learn? And then the third question is, what will I do differently moving forward? Or what will I do differently in August? So those are the three questions. You can take a screenshot of this if you want, and really invest a little bit of time asking and journaling this today. Typically, I do this on the last day of the month, which I'm going to actually do this practice myself tomorrow. And I encourage you, don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today. Okay. That way while it's still fresh in your mind. So you can take a screenshot of this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to preview. Okay, I'll just take all this out. We're going to preview August. And on an overall scale, like what's your one big thing in August? And I encourage you to set these I encourage you to identify this in a few areas of your life. Okay. I encourage you to think about this in terms of what you're doing with Freedom Creators, what you're creating and building, and be very specific. What by when? That's how you want to write it. What by when? Okay, that you're going to do. All right. And then think about it on a personal level as well. So you might have one big thing in your business and one big thing in your life. Okay? Then three important things. Okay, and again, business and your life. And then five quick things that come to mind. And how I break this out for me personally is I say the important things are things that they're going to cost an investment of up to 90 minutes. It's going to take up to 90 minutes to do this. The quick things are like things that I could get done in 5 to 10 to 15 minutes. Now you're going to do this big overall in August, but this is what I do, review preview daily. Okay. So I will review the day that I'm in, and then I will preview the next day. And this is the application of it on a monthly basis. Okay. There's a tremendous amount of value in doing this. And one of the hidden things is that you come up with things that you can share with other people as content because there are all kinds of insights that you gain as you move throughout the month, as you move throughout the day, as you move throughout the week that can then become a starter story for a piece of content. Or you have, a big idea or an insight that comes out and you can use that, okay? You can use that in your content as a starting point. So I encourage you to do this. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it right now because I want to jump into what we're covering for today. And let me get over here to our slides so I can show you. Okay, so just a little recap. Um, what we've been talking about is we've been talking about how we train AI. So we've spent time on AI, finding out what AI knows about you, making sure that AI knows who you are. And then in this session, this two-part session that started last week, it's all about AI um, learning what you know. Okay. Because one of the reasons, and I'm just going to pause the share here so that I can jump ahead to where we're going to start from today. We're going to start from what I'm calling the topic knowledge brain. Now, the reason that this is so important is because once you do this, once AI knows who you are and what you know, you're going to find that there's a night and day difference when you ask it to help you with content. Okay? It's a night and day difference. And the reason that it works so well for Robin with the caregiving is because Robin has been a client. And so as a result, and is an active client of mine. And so as a result, I have a project in Claude named Robin and all of her stuff, including her book outline, the book interviews, the finished book itself, the conversations that we've had about caregiving, about eBay, about all the things that she knows lives inside of a project named Robin in Claude. So my Claude knows who Robin is, and my Claude knows what Robin knows as evidence of our conversations and what we've talked about. And so that's why when I had her come up on the Super Saturday and have her, we picked a topic that's why it worked. Okay. It worked because my AI knew who Robin is and knows what she knows about that topic. And once Robin goes through the exercises in her own Claude or Chat GPT, it will know her too, and it will know what she knows. And she'll be able to make workshops on those topics, like we made the workshop on caregiving. Okay. And by the way, you may wonder, okay, all right, she got five people in that workshop. Okay, awesome. My experience is most people actually don't get that many, so that was a really good thing. And I think most of the people came in like at the last minute. Most of her sales, interestingly, were at the last minute. I think she had gotten like one or two people, and then like three people came in, I think, like days before the workshop, and one on the day of the workshop. The big lesson there is keep promoting your workshop right up until the time the workshop happens, and always send out a last chance email on that day. So that was just something else I'll throw in. All right. So let's jump into this knowledge brain topic. Now, what I'm going to do is I've actually updated the way that we're sharing stuff um, in the sense of getting you the notes in a better way because I've already got the notes done and they were actually scheduled to go out. They didn't go out. And so to prevent that from happening in the future, what I'm doing, and matter of fact, let me show you this. I know I'm kind of jumping around right now um, to show you some different things, but I want to make sure I don't miss this while everybody is here. Okay, let me show you how this is going to work. Um, and by the way, I'm not suggesting any of you do it like this unless you really want to jump in and like learn AI for building stuff. But the reason that I'm doing this all one time myself is because basically I'm going to give you the template for this. Okay, and let me show you how to build interactive things that really delight people. And when you're first starting, you got some bumps. So you're going to notice that this live page where things are is a little bit different. And so what I'm doing now is I'm making it so that there's actually a page to watch the replays on. And the replays and all the content is going to be on that page. And then the watch live page is the regular thing. And then each one, like you see how it says join live now for this. So I'm doing this is kind of like um, an update on this, and I'll just kind of keep you posted on it. Now, again, I know some of you are like right at the absolute starting point, and all of that's going to be like just Greek to you at this point. But by the time that we are, into this a couple of months, you're going to be building apps with AI and building pages with AI on demand as you need them, or you can just, build apps and just skip all of these pages that I'm doing and just use StanStore to deliver it. Um, I have a somewhat convoluted setup after 20 plus years on the internet, and I'm just really curious and I'm really excited about trying new stuff. And I always have to give that as a disclaimer because you're going to see me doing, cool, wow stuff that you probably shouldn't mess with until you get the basics down. In fact, I'm certain you shouldn't mess with it until you get the basics down. So it's kind of a weird thing, but I'll always give you the disclaimer. Look, this is the basics of what you do, and then you go from there. But right now, let me jump back into the topic. It's really about um, nailing your topics because the reason it's so hard to come up with the content that you want or come up with products and workshops, digital products and workshops and that kind of thing and apps is because you really don't know what you know. What am I really saying? What am I saying in that? I'm saying that what you're doing is you're thinking about the product, you're thinking about the app, you're thinking about how you're going to help people. And really, you've got to figure out and get clear on how you help people first, and the kind of person you help, and the kind of problems that exist in their day-to-day life that they've already made a decision to pay to solve. Um, and so this is really, really important. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to realize that there's a few topics that matter to you. Topics that matter to me are uh, making digital products that pay you and that travel. So you can travel and people are buying your digital products, they're paying you, and you're not you're not having to be in one particular place. You don't have to get on the phone with people when they give you money. They can get your product, they can get the promise, and you get paid, and you can do that every day. Well, there's topics. So the topics for me are simple digital products, strategic AI, in other words, using AI strategically, not just using AI as a Google, as a substitute for Google to find information, but using it to actually build useful stuff that people will pay you for. Okay. And then my other topic is higher purpose. So I have three things that I'm focused on, that I care about, that I'm writing about. And there are those three things: simple digital business, strategic AI, and higher purpose. Well, those are big, broad topics. Okay. They're big, broad topics. So what you've got to do is you've got to get the subtopics that matter most to my audience. So my audience really isn't interested. When I say simple digital business, my audience really isn't interested in having a Shopify store. I built two big Shopify stores. But my audience really isn't interested in that because they don't want to drop ship products or have physical products. And maybe somebody will show up, but that's not what I'm teaching primarily. I'm teaching simple digital products and apps. Okay. Um, knowledge as a software, little micro apps where you take your knowledge and you put it in some kind of tool or app that helps people. That's what I'm teaching. Okay. I'm teaching strategic AI, very specific ways to use AI that make you money. And so I'm just not going to teach other stuff. I could teach other stuff because I've done a bunch of other stuff, but I'm teaching that. So based on that, then I've got to break that topic down. So I want you to write down like your big overall topics. And your big overall topics isn't coaching for women. Your big overall topics isn't like a generic kind of thing that you hear people say. A big overall topic might be productivity. Okay, that's a topic I've taught on in the past, but I found that nobody wants to hear about productivity until they hear the other thing from me. So when they get simple digital business from me, and specifically the workshop method for creating digital products, for example, where you can create your digital product from no idea to done in the 5 hour bill on Super Saturday, and then you can go and actually deliver that workshop and get paid to make the product. That's what Robin was able to do. That's what they specifically want. That's like the subtopic. The subtopic thing that they want is making simple digital products, 5 hours or less, that you get paid to make. That's the workshop method. So that's something very, very, very specific to me. And then I've named it something, okay? Um, and that's the subtopic that AI needs to know that I know. Okay. All right. So I've given you these prompts. Now I've got these prompts in a document that I'm going to send to you in just a minute, but I've got a new way now to put them in so they go in automatically versus me having to rely on the autoresponder and whatever, because something always breaks. And so what you want to do um, is have the simplest method and always have a backup for it. And so as I work out the methods to do certain things, then I'm going to share that with you as a template that will save you hours and hours and hours of time and frustration. Okay. So people want to pick your brain. And I say a prerequisite for being in this kind of business is that people want to pick your brain on something. And a lot of times, what people want to pick your brain on is not something that you think of or put a lot of value in for having a simple digital business. Pickleball right now is the fastest growing sport in America. And in fact, uh, this pickleball coach is building a pickleball stadium about 5 minutes from me. That evidently some national tournaments are going to happen in this stadium that they're wanting to build. And I'm thinking that's crazy. Like, how is that going to make money? Or who's going to be interested? But it is true. People are interested in pickleball. So if you were really great at pickleball, what is the problem? What is the stuck and the stop points that pickleball players do? You might not think of that as a digital product, but there are digital products. And there's a guy who has a membership and has several thousand people in a pickleball membership that are paying him something like $5 or $10, and he's putting up videos, he's interviewing people, he's sharing tips, and he's making a full-time living talking about pickleball, something he likes to do. There are people who are doing this with cooking. There are people to doing this, but I want to tell you where all the money is right now. Okay? Most of the money right now is in something, it's in three primary categories. It's in the topic of money and making more money specifically. It's in the topic of health and solving very specific things. Like there's money in knee pain. So the people who have money are 45 years old or older. That's where most of the improve myself, improve my position in life, that's where the money is. Okay. And they're paying for stuff that makes their money better, makes their health better, and makes their relationships better. Okay, so there's money in, for example, dating over 50. Second chance love. Okay, there's money in that. Whether you are writing second chance romance novels, whether you are coaching people or teaching people to set up dating profiles online. Okay, these are things that people are desperate to solve. They're desperate for companionship, they're desperate for love, they're desperate to solve their knee pain, they're desperate to lose weight. And not just any old weight, they're desperate to lose the weight that forms behind your arm as a woman, like your the top part from like your shoulder to your elbow. As women age, they pick up fat there. So if you're, I don't know, what do you call that? Like, is that the backside of your muscle fat? Okay, there's something for that. But the backside of your muscle fat, solve that, and women will pay you money. Belly fat is another one. Um, Making your butt tighter and firmer. Okay, that's a particular area that people will pay for. Okay, so what I'm saying is that there's a subtopic within the larger topic,
and there are problems hidden there. Okay. And a lot of reason that people struggle and they end up coming up with something generic is because they stay generic. They think in terms of that broader topic, or they think I'm going to make this for women. I'm going to make this for men. I'm going to make this for insurance agents. I'm going to make this for nurses. I'm going to make this for and and they end up with something really generic, and they're kind of comparing to what other people are doing, and it's just a mess. It just doesn't work. So in Robin's instance, like I sat through her workshop, and I was excited to sit through it, and I had a bunch of notes for her. And once the excitement wears off, like I'm gonna hit her with the real stuff. I'm gonna say, okay, Robin, here are the three things that like don't do this, do that. Yeah, but she's in like the bask and the glow of it. I'm not gonna ruin the glow at this particular point in time. But I wrote down, three or four things that I would have said, like I'm sitting there like getting ready to hit the desk. I'm like, Robin, and then I was thinking, oh, if I say this to her on the text, then it's gonna mess her up. And that's it for everybody. It's like that for everybody. So anyway, but she did a really great job though. Um, and there's just a few things that I'm going to tell her, hey, do it this way this next time, do it this way this next. But we're going to do that in the context of working on the next workshop. I'll just work it in when I'm working with her on the next workshop. So yeah. Um, but here's what I'm saying is that there's something hidden in the caregiving thing. Like, okay, so just as I was on with her and she was doing the workshop, and she did that first exercise, which was like write down what you're going to say or how your opener that you're going to use to sort of start the conversation. So immediately I went to Claude and I said, okay, we need a list or a template for starter conversations. We need like 20 starter conversations. And I sent that to her by email. I said, okay, here's a extra surprise bonus. So one of the emails she's going to send out in the next couple of days to those people where she's talking about, hey, I can help you, $99 coaching offer. We're going to say, okay, here's something extra. I realized that a bunch of you on that first exercise were like, maybe you didn't quite fully get how to start the conversation, or maybe my example didn't work super well for you. So, you know what? Here's 20 starter conversation templates. They say, oh, wow. Okay, that's cool. Now I have a lot more ways to talk to my parents. And so Robin could actually have a product, okay, about having the hard conversations in life. That's a very specific. How many times have you wanted to say something or talk to someone and it was a hard conversation and you just couldn't figure out where to start? You were either embarrassed or you didn't want to embarrass them or you wanted to, like, how to have the hard conversations. Okay. I struggle with that myself. There are things, I want to talk to people about, I want to bring up to people. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to say it in a way like I'm trying to tell them what to do. So, it's hard conversations, but she can do it specific to caregiving. And she said, look, here are 20 conversation starters for when you need to talk to your parents about the hard stuff as an adult. Well, that's a little product. She could send that product out. She could say, okay, this is $7. And then that $7 can lead to the whole course that she's recorded now. The whole workshop that she's recorded. Okay. All right. So this first prompt is to start pulling all of that out of you. Okay? This first prompt is to pull all of that out of you. Now, for those of you that are like, okay, give me this right now. Okay? I'm going to post it in the chat. For those of you that are on live, you can copy and paste it in there and start doing it immediately. The thing will come out to you right after this workshop finishes. But I'm just giving you an example of the first one. Okay, now I talked about this idea of second brain. Okay, second brain is just a place to capture all of those insights that come up in your life when you are not expecting it, and then you can't remember it an hour later. So second brain for me, like I mentioned, I'm using Obsidian. You can just type in Obsidian and you'll see where that is. I'm also using a tool called Plod that hangs around my neck. Okay. I have a tool and it's a jo.my/plod. And if you've gotten an email from me, if you look in the PS of my email down there, you're going to see a thing where I have voice dictation. I have a voice dictation report. Plot is in that report. So just go find an email that you've gotten from me personally, and you'll see that. Most of you've gotten an email from me personally. Those of you that haven't, the link is jo.my/plod. Plod is spelled Plaud. I paid like $120 for that thing, $140 for that thing when it first came out. That thing has changed my life. And what it is it's a device that I put around my neck. I carry it around my neck all the time. And then okay, let me just show you because um
Can you say it again?
okay, let me show you. Hey guys, um okay, so Plod comes in two ways. It comes in this thing right here that fits on the back of my iPhone. It goes just like this. Okay, and then it'll work with other things too, but I like iPhones. Okay, so it just fits like that. And then I just touch a button and it starts recording. The hang around your neck version, I've given it to one of my business partners, but it just hangs around a lanyard and it's small like this. Okay. And you just push a button on it and it starts recording. It records it as an audio and then it summarizes it based on a recipe. It's like audio pin hanging around your neck. Okay. For those of you that remember, my first foray into this kind of stuff was audio pen. And I was telling everybody get audio pen. And I still use audio pen and it's great. For most people, I say, get one thing and stick with it. I'm super curious, so I've got all of them. I've got Plod, I've got Audio Pen, I've got Pocket, I've got, all the different ones. And that way, so when I talk to you, if you tell me, okay, I'm like, most of my ideas come, I'm just on the go, I'm out, I want to like capture things, boom, just get Plod. I'm always at my computer, I'm wanting to do this and da 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 da, get Audio Pen or get them both. My point is that your second brain is where all of your knowledge about various topics live, that you can call it back when you need it. Okay. And the best thing I'm using right now for that is Plod. This is the one I have, like I said, on on the back of my phone. It just goes on the back of my phone like that, carry it around. And everything happens within the app. There's a Plod app. It just records everything, and then they've recently added Plod MCP for you fancy people with technology. What this will allow Plod to do is be inside of ChatGPT and Claude. So once you have something go in here, Claude or ChatGPT can go get that audio, get that summary, get that idea out of Plod and do whatever you want with it. So this thing is getting um really cool and kind of complicated, but just start with the baby steps. Okay? Second brain. So one topic, six essentials. I'm just going to go through this as a review because this is in the notes. But what you're looking for is you're looking to surface the true problem that's really going on with people. And the problem is usually something small. In the case of Robin with the caregiving stuff, it's um how do I have this conversation? How do I start a conversation with a curmudgeon parent? How do I start a conversation with a parent that just don't want to talk to you? Okay? They just want to tell you what to do, and they want to be in charge of their life, and you're not gonna tell them what to do. How do you start that conversation with them? How do you how do you
Is he
um
freezing for you?
pardon? Okay. I didn't hear I didn't hear what you said. Okay. Look like somebody froze up. Okay, I'm gonna just put her on mute. Okay, so here's the deal. Um, there's a hidden problem in everything that people want to do. There's a stuck in the stop point. And what you're trying to do, what you're wanting to do with your subtopic, whatever it is, like for example, with productivity, a stuck in the stop point is one system. A stuck in the stop point with productivity is you got too many things and too many apps. Okay. So here's the last productivity thing you'll ever need, and here's how to implement it. That's a product that you can build to solve that problem. That's what um, my productivity course is. I've literally called it the last productivity course you'll ever need. Okay, and it just teaches a simple system, that doesn't have apps and stuff like that, and you can just do it within Google Docs. And that's a productivity system. Okay, so you're getting to the true problem. Until you have until you have knowledge documented inside of a subtopic and you have a true problem, you're probably not going to make any money. The reason that Robin was able to make money with this workshop is because she had she had identified the true problems, the stuck in the stop points, without even realizing it to an extent. I don't even think she really understood fully what she had until till we worked it out and then she taught it out and she realized, oh, there were some points in that workshop where people were literally stuck and stopped, and those were the topics and the things that people were actually asking questions about. Okay. And that's why you want to get in and do a workshop as fast as possible. Okay. What's your story? What's your before and after? What is the thing that um what is the thing that people um okay, what is the thing that you have, the story you have that is the before and after? You tried this, this happened. Okay? And if you didn't try it, go try it and document it. Like it doesn't have to be something that happened 10 years ago. It might be something that you're just trying to figure out this week. And then you get a breakthrough and you go teach it. Okay? All right. So someone is asking a question about Claude. Okay, send a send an email to support@coachinghelpdesk.com and ask for the Claude action guide. Okay? I pretty much have an action guide on everything. Um, we're trying to figure out now how to actually make those available to you in a useful way where you don't get overwhelmed. But I pretty much have an action guide on everything. So just send an email to support@coachinghelpdesk.com. Um, the responses are running about, because the person is in the Philippines, the responses are running about a day and a half American time, just so you know what to expect. Okay. So your before and after story. You don't have a before and after story, create one. Go do something 50 times and tell people about it. Okay. Okay. The shift. What shifted in your thinking? What shifted in your approach? What shifted in terms of behavior? Then talk about the approach. What's the step by step? What are the habits, the things to do continually? And what are the big ideas that are like the ahas inside of that whole process? And that's your workshop, that's your book, that's your mini course, that's your micro app. Okay, this is the topic extraction interview. This is the second prompt you use. Then this is a really important sort of like thingy here. This is a really important thingy. Um, Once you tell AI this stuff, what AI will do is it will pull the big ideas from material that you've gathered, labeled, source, but it never replaces your voice. See, what you're doing is by going through this process, you're giving AI a filter. And I'm taking 2 weeks on this because this is arguably the 20% that's 80% when it comes to using AI effectively. Okay? Because if you just go to AI and you say, Bill, make me a workbook on productivity, it will make you a workbook on productivity. But it's sort of like the generic, it's sort of like the generic baseline for everything that it knows on productivity. It's not going to be very useful. And pretty much 80% of what it talks about can be Googled for a person to find out. And it's not unique to you. It's not value added benefit to people. But when you train AI the way I'm showing you, and you say, AI, make me a workbook on productivity, it will pull stuff from all of your knowledge and expertise and make it uniquely you, something that nobody can replicate. Okay. And then what happens is it will turn the brain, the knowledge brain that you're building in AI, into tutorials, checklists, guides, everything that will be helpful to people. Okay. Here's your source extractor. Now, what's a source extractor? This prompt three. Okay, let me put it this way. There's nothing new under the sun. So so I'm reading all these books and I got notes from these different books. Those are sources on my topic. Once I put that information, my notes in from that information, AI will take and extract the big ideas from other people's stuff. There's a guy that I paid $1,000 to in Florida that's like on the cutting edge of AI. And he shared one prompt with me that was like the source prompt that totally changed my life. It totally changed my life. And I have reversed engineered it for us. Okay. So when we get together to talk on your topic and I'm helping you, and you've got, because not everybody has this, by the way, because everybody doesn't journal their ideas or their sources. They're starting from scratch every time they want to do something. But you start building up your sources, like all the different things that you have, and you put those sources in your AI is going to be basically able to synthesize those sources and those big ideas to support your overall topic. So you're going to have stuff that is uniquely you, but you're also going to have the best of the best of the best of the best of the best because you sourced from the best people that are talking about that topic. Okay. So you're not just quoting them and you're certainly not copying them. What you're doing is you're using their source material and letting AI, through the lens of what it knows about you and what you know, extract the juice, so to speak, from those sources and add tremendous value to what you're doing. Hopefully, I'm convincing you to implement these prompts. Okay. The activator is to take all of the stuff now that you fed AI, okay, that's in the brain. Notice it says build only from what's in the brain. Don't go out there in the universe of all the knowledge that you have, for example, on productivity or whatever it is, and put together something generic and bland for me. Use only what's in my brain that I've given you, my knowledge brain. When you do that, it's a night and day difference. It's a night and day difference. Okay? All right. These are 4 rules. AI asks, AI never invents. Gap markers are a feature. In other words, when AI doesn't, when AI has a gap, you need to know it because it's something you fill in. You fill in. See, when you tell AI, look, don't make up anything, don't invent anything, but show me the gaps, that's an opportunity for you to put in those things that become a wow. Okay. The sources support, they never replace, and then one topic at a time. You need one topic. Let me show you the power of this. Okay. So remember I told you about how we can use Claude to make these like these virtual me's? Well, if you've got a brain, a knowledge brain on a particular topic, all you've got to do is drop that knowledge brain into Claude, okay? Pull it out of ChatGPT or wherever it is, or even if it's in Claude, you can say, "Hey, Claude, make me a knowledge brain document showing the mental shifts, the approaches, the strategies, the frameworks, the templates, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, on this particular topic." It will make you a document. You take that document and drop it in a new chat and say, "Claude, build me a, a micro app artifact using this knowledge brain." Boom, you've built a virtual me. So now you can go out to people and you say, "Hey, would you like coaching from me anytime on this specific topic and help you get clarity and get unstuck 24/7?" You can. It's 25 bucks a month. Here's a link to an artifact that is open right now, or here's a link to the app. It's open right now in Claude. Try it out. I'm closing this down in 3 days. And then the only way you're going to be able to get it is the special starter price of $25 a month. If you've got people who are wanting to learn from you and wanting to learn to solve the specific problems you said, they're going to buy it. They're going to buy it. And the way you make them stick is you add more knowledge brains inside of the virtual me. So it starts out with one, it may have three or four. And then if you really want to get to the point where you can make 10,000 or more a month, make the knowledge brains a process. So for example, think about something that people have to do over and over and over in the problem that you solve. Create a knowledge brain that helps with each step of that process. Offer the entire virtual me as something that helps with each aspect of that process that they need so that they can skip steps and implement faster. People will pay $20 a month for that, $30 a month for that forever, because there's some stuck and stop point hidden in every step of that process that people are going to want to do. That's how you can get past $10,000 a month without having to talk to people. And that's recurring revenue that comes in every single month like clockwork. And all you've got to do is get really specific about what the problem is, find the repeatable part of it that they need to be able to do over and over again, build it into a knowledge brain for each step that they have to follow, put that knowledge brain in something as simple as Claude, which you can't gate it. You can't pay gate it, but I'm going to show you how to pay gate it in August. People will pay for that every month, every month, every month, every month, every month. The first step, though, is that you got to do a workshop on it. The first step on it is you got to have a micro product on it. You got to have some little simple digital product on it that solves the thing. And then you add an app that people pay for on a regular basis. Because see, the only thing they're going to pay you regularly for is for you to help them do it either virtually or in person. And it's one of the reasons I'm transitioning out of doing a lot of one-on-one coaching. I'm probably going to have five one-on-one clients. I got two now. So I'll probably take on three more. Because most of them are not ready for coaching because they don't come with questions. They come with asking me what to do. And they don't need a coach, they need a tape recorder. So they can just play it back each time. Your virtual me becomes like a tape recorder. And people don't want to be without it because it actually works. All right. Pick one topic, run the prompts, report next Thursday. Okay? That's it. AI organizes, you invent, go mind the goal. Any questions about anything we talked about this week? I'm opening it up for questions. I'm going to do my best to finish at 11:30. Um, questions. Any questions on anything we talked about? Any questions on your specific thing? Okay, so I want to give like a few little things for, so Robin, one of the things that I want to give you a little homework for today is I want you to send out a $99 coaching offer to your list. I started the email for you in StanStore. Okay, so all you got to do is figure out what are they going to get for the $99. I suggest you have them send you emails and use Vocal to respond. All right, Stavetta, you were working on a couple of things. So unmute yourself so I can hear you.
I think I'm unmuted. Okay. My question, I guess, is I say the couple things that I was doing, I was working on the companion book, and we talked about that. But I'm trying to get something up to sell. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to do is like get a product out and into the hands of
workshop,
people.
workshop,
Okay.
as you speak. The workshop
Yeah.
is the natural thing for you. So the
Okay.
question is, what's the workshop? The workshop is a stuck or stop point. And the reason I sent you all those articles is because the whole world of nursing is changing.
Yes.
Nurses are becoming remote nurses. Nurses are facing all kinds of issues like, their workplace isn't supportive. How do you have the tough conversation with your supervisor? That's like that hard topics thing that we talked about earlier. So you can give a nurse, for example, 30 different templates to have hard conversations in the hospital or in the interaction. See, you got to learn to listen and spot the stuck and the stop points in what people want to do. So there's a big thing with nurse practitioners. They're some of the highest paid nurses now, other than the specialties. So you could do a nursing practitioner thing. You say, well, I'm not a nurse practitioner. Go interview 5 or 10 nurse practitioners that are operating independently. I ran across a guy down in Georgia who's like is a certified psychiatric nurse practitioner, and he has a practice that he runs, and he's making 6 figures, and all of the stuff is done remote. So these are the kind of leading edge kind of things that people will want to do. Well, what are the problems that those nurse practitioners, those independent nurse practitioners are having? They're having marketing and client problems. They're having organizing their frameworks. You say, well, I don't know anything about that. What do you know about? Okay. So if nurses are probably one of the hardest things that nurses have is how to talk to their supervisors and coworkers about the hard stuff without getting emotionally drained or pulled into nonsense in the workplace. I'm just guessing, based on what I've read, since you've joined. I've read up on some things related to nursing, so I see that. Um, Another thing is, something as simple as, um, you know, um, avoiding burnout for nurses. That could be a workshop. Okay, what are the factors of burnout? And then I think we recorded, I think there was some affirmations or something. You give that as a bonus. But for you, probably the fastest thing that you can create that would be of super value to nurses is a workshop on a very specific, solving a very specific topic or problem. Where are nurses hanging out now? Are there Facebook groups? Um, we may be able to run a Facebook ad, for example, and say, "Are you a nurse? What are the top 2 or 3 challenges that you're facing right now in nursing?" And those are those are those are less effective than actually talking to the nurses, but it is at least a starting point. Is there a Facebook group that has nurses in it? Because you're not just looking for nurses that are in hospitals, you're looking for nurses that are remote work. So what I would are doing remote or doing different other types of things. So um, how to get a job in as how to get a remote job as a nurse. So you can stay home have fun and make money as a nurse. Like, how do you do that? So the remote nursing thing, you said, well, I've not done remote nursing. Okay, so go do remote nursing or interview 10 people who've done remote nursing and have all of their, do remote nursing summit and just do a series of Zoom calls where you interview a remote nurse. You just find 10 remote nurses and you interview them about their experience in remote nursing, what they learned, how they got the jobs, if they've had to change companies, um, how the conversations go, that kind of thing. In other words, you're listening in the market and asking the question, what is the problem or the frustration? And what I would suggest you do, have you set up the one-on-one that you have for Freedom Creators? Go back and look at the welcome email because there's a link in there to schedule a one-on-one with me where we'll be able to knock out a topic. We'll just pick one. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be perfect. We'll just pick one and then you build out the workshop. And the next, if you want to do it on the Super Saturday, next Super Saturday, I think I'm doing one either the first week in August, that first full week Saturday in August. Let me look. And then you can come to that and we can knock yours out right live in the workshop. You can be the example and we'll just knock it out. Yeah, the 8th. So you've got until the 8th of August. You got like 7 days to figure out, to get close. And what I would say is set your one-on-one call up with me next week.
Okay.
Like, on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll map it out. And then on the 8th, we'll build it. We'll just do basically the same thing we did, with Robin, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Because once you get out there, you start talking to nurses, I'm telling you, it changes everything. Don't try to do this in a vacuum because you just get messed up, and you get in this loop of not getting it going. Okay. So set up the one-on-one call for next week. Okay. The link is in your email, the welcome email you got. And then show up on the 8th for Super Saturday, and I'll make you the example case, like I did with Robin a few weeks ago. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions, you can shoot them to my text. Those of you that are joining in, Robin says her internet went out. Okay, who is this? Kimmy. Yeah, Kimmy, you can do a PDF. Like what will work on that is a PDF. Just do a PDF that you charge. Do a PDF, charge $20 for the PDF, and give them reseller rights. You have something interesting because you're talking about Instagram, how to make money on Instagram. You put your make money on Instagram into a PDF, and then when people buy the PDF for $20, you let them resell that PDF and keep all of the money when they pay you an extra $50 for a license, and you give them your sales letter and you give them basically a business in a box. So here's how I made my first money on Instagram. I'm going to give you the plan for $20. And then you know how the upsell in Stan Store, you say, for an extra 50, you can upgrade and I will give you the license to sell my PDF with my sales letter that got you to buy. And the PDF is licensed to you to resell. Now, one thing I would do with the PDF is that particular PDF, I would put the reseller's license name on it and a number. Just make up the number, but I put the person's name on it. The reason is because what that's going to do is that's going to make it less likely that people steal it and just sell it. Say, this is licensed specifically to this person. If you didn't get it from this person, this is stolen property. For real. That's how I would put it. And you may be wondering, well, how do I brand that when somebody give me the $50? Well, what you can do is you can use a tool like Nitro PDF, or what you can do is open the PDF inside of Preview, because you're on a Mac, if I remember correctly. Open it open it like you would open a PDF, and then there is a control up there that will allow you to type something into that PDF that will stick. And you just say license to name. If you didn't get it from them, this is stolen property. And yeah. And I put your website on it. Okay. That's a condition of them being able to resell it and keep all the money. So there you go. Take good care, everybody. I'll see you next week. And remember Super Saturday in August, on August 8th. And also do the review preview. Really important. Any questions that you've got, send them in, support@coachinghelpdesk.com. Take good care, everybody.